Alright everyone, it is Finn here, and in today's video we're going to be talking about the World Cup semi-final game between Morocco and France. And we're going to be talking about whether the fact that Morocco, the first ever African nation to reach a World Cup semi-final, can go all the way.
I don't know how to put this, but I'm kind of a big deal.
Because ladies and gentlemen, as you guys know, I have covered a lot of African content on this channel over the past year, especially Moroccan related content. And looking at this Moroccan national team, looking at the Atlas Lions, I believe that this was a group made of some very special individuals with a very special coach indeed. I think this Moroccan national team has really caught a lot of people off guard by taking down some of the biggest names in football. And if they're able to take down the likes of France, who's to say that they can't win the competition as a whole? Once again, that would be absolutely mental. I mean, to be the first ever African nation to reach a World Cup semi-final. I mean, imagine if they just went on to win it all. That would be absolutely mental. I do want you guys, though, to say in the comment section down below, what is your prediction for the France versus Morocco game? As I said in today's video, we're going to be talking about the game as a whole. Both Morocco, both France. We're going to be talking about the injuries, what we can expect from both the teams. But at the end of the day, I am very, very excited for a fixture like this. This is truly when the World Cup gets super exciting. I mean, yes, I know the previous rounds have also been exciting, but once you get to the semi-finals, once you get to the final four teams, things start to get really serious. And I think looking at injuries, they could play a major role for both nations. I mean, looking at France in terms of their injuries, they cove play the best five-a-side team in the entire world. I mean, look at a team like that. I mean, you've got Mannion as a goalkeeper, you've got Lucas Hernandez as a centre-back in the midfield, and N'Golo Kante and Paul Pogba, one of the best midfield partnerships of all time, with Benzema up front, the recent Ballon d'Or winner. France is missing some of its best players for this tournament, but yet they still have one of the best teams, and having depth like that could be very, very dangerous versus a nation like Morocco. As we know, looking at this Moroccan national team, they're also missing some major names. And without the kind of depth that France has, they could really struggle here. Obviously, looking at the injuries for Morocco at the moment, Mazraoui is struggling with a hip injury, which I do want to state before I mention the Moroccan injuries that, well, except for the Mazraoui one, I've already spoken about that none of these players have been ruled off of the next game, and they all have the ability to return. But if any of these players, if 2 or 3 of these players are going to be missing out, it could be a challenge for the Atlas Lions. I mean, if you're missing Mazraoui, arguably your best left back in the squad. We've got the likes of Giroud and Romain Saiss, who could both miss this match, both of their main centre backs, and on top of that, the likes of Ziyech took a knock versus Portugal. If any of those players, if at least 2 of those players are missing out, as I said, it might be near impossible. But look at this Moroccan national team. Impossible, it's just not a word in their dictionary. I have said on countless occasions that maybe from time to time I have underestimated them, but I've also overestimated their opponents. They've had opponents that haven't lived up to expectations. Going into this tournament, Morocco can be so proud of themselves. To get a draw versus Croatia, a win versus Belgium, another win over Canada, to get points versus Spain versus Portugal, this Moroccan team has done absolutely everything. And whether they can beat a team that did lose to Tunisia early this competition, it's very possible. France have proven that they can lose to African teams.
This time for Africa.
As I said on many occasions, this Moroccan team could be so special. I think in terms of producing a result, I think Morocco, in terms of how they should set up, it should be exactly how you can see on the side of the screen right there. I think Bono between the posts, I mean, that has to be the most obvious one ever. I would put him down as the goalkeeper of the tournament, to be honest. He has been an absolute brick wall. In terms of defense, this is where it gets really tricky because we don't know which players would be available. But assuming players like Romain Saiss is unable to play and Mazraoui, who are in serious doubt at the moment, I still think Morocco have a super solid team. I mean, if you look at them, they have conceded 0 goals from opposition this entire tournament, which, I mean, mentioning the names I mentioned earlier, the opposition that they've had, that is seriously impressive. The only goal they conceded was an own goal. But looking at that right back position, Hakimi is still fit. Once again, such a crucial player. He definitely will be able to play. I've put Allah in that left back position, who, yes, heading in isn't necessarily better than Mazraoui, but he did a serious job at keeping Portugal out. In terms of the centre backs, Giroud, although once again he has been struggling with muscle injuries throughout the entirety of this year, there is talks that he will be ready for the game. Unfortunately, Saiss, we don't know about him yet, and if he is unable to play, I do think Al Yamex, the other centre back, should be able to play. He did a brilliant job versus Portugal, and even a second tier kind of Moroccan defense still looks somewhat solid. In terms of the midfield, once again, it's going to be pretty solid with Amala, Anahi, and Amrabat as your three midfielders. Once again, there's just no reason to argue about it. They have all been brilliant throughout this tournament. In terms of attack, once again, hoping Ziyech is back, which doesn't look like his injury is that bad. I mean, he just picked up a knock in the series game. It does look like he will be playing with Boufal on the other side and a Nesri as the attack. This Moroccan national team heading in with a super strong squad could take down a French national team. As I've said on many occasions, France can dominate absolutely anyone in the world. They are one of the favorites to win this tournament, despite the fact that they had the so-called World Cup curse. But once again, as I said, we saw them lose versus Tunisia, and there's no reason why they can't lose versus Morocco. Looking at France, as I said, despite the fact that they are missing some of their best players. If you look at the squad that they can play, Hugo Lloris, a World Cup winning captain who is brilliant versus England. In terms of defense, yes, maybe in that right back position, Koundé isn't the strongest right back out there, but still very solid. Upamecano and Varane as your two centre backs, very solid options, with the other Hernandez brother as the left back. In terms of the midfielders, I mean, Tchouameni just had too many opportunities versus England. Absolutely brilliant young midfielder with Rabiot in the midfield, super solid, although not N'Golo Kante and Pogba. There was still a solid 8 out of 10 midfield. In terms of the attack, once again, Antoine Griezmann as an attacking midfielder, he's been brilliant throughout this tournament, recently became France's top assist maker of all time, with, let's be honest, the rest of the attack pretty obvious, with Olivier Giroud as your main man up front, Kylian Mbappe as your left winger, and Ousmane Dembele on that right wing. This is going to be the biggest mountain Morocco have to climb, but they've climbed other mountains throughout this tournament, and they've just been preparing for the Mount Everest of competitions. I think if they are able to take down France, whoever they meet in the final, whether it's Croatia, whether it's Argentina, I think if they can beat France, they can beat absolutely anyone, and they won't just be the first ever African nation to make a semi-final of the World Cup, they will be the first ever African nation to win the World Cup. I don't think it's impossible. Yes, it's going to be a very tricky task, but we've seen this Moroccan national team, they've absolutely redefined the term impossible. Ladies and gentlemen, I do want you guys to put down below, as I said, put your predictions, and on top of that, put your predictions for the rest of the competition. Once again, what a ride this competition has been. World Cup 2022, heading into it, so many people had different opinions about it, not really liking it. I think a lot of people wanted this World Cup to fail, despite the fact that they had all the labor laws and the drinking laws and the this and that. But one thing you can't deny is it has been an entertaining competition where absolutely anything can happen. Once again, an African nation could win this World Cup as a whole, and I am totally there for it. Ladies and gentlemen, this is pretty much it for today's video. As I said, it's just a little recap for the France versus Morocco game. If there's anything I missed, I do apologize. This is recorded 2 days before the match is being played, so nothing's been confirmed in terms of players being injured, long-term players not being able to play. But as I said, that was my starting 11 if those players or those injuries were serious. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe. Once again, we are on the road to 10,000 subscribers, and we've just reached 8,000. Thank you so much for all your support throughout this year. It's been absolutely mental. I've loved every single second of it. Don't forget to like the video down below if you want to catch more content like this in the future. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Finn, FYNN, and until next time, cheers.